I'm starting all classes this week in child's pose. So as you set up, find your place on the mat. I actually didn't pull out my props today, but if you want to have some blocks handy, it never hurts. But knees a bit apart, big toes together, fold your torso in, let your arms reach out in front of you, forehead down to the mat. Open the 60-minute, all levels yoga practice here. As you turn in, bring your focus to your breath. Letting go of tensions and attention outside of the mat. Allow yourself to be fully engrossed right here. Reach the arms out longer in front of you. Come to your fingertips. Lift your forearms, your elbows, your upper arm bones to the sky. And then walk both hands over towards the right side. Walk the hands across the center and over to the left side. Back to the middle, rise up to all fours, and do cat and cow. Move the spine back and forth. Connect the breath and the movement together. Cow pose, inhale. Cat pose, exhale. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Keep enjoying the movement. Pedal the feet a bit. You can drop the heels side to side, kind of sway with the hips. Then press the heels down evenly towards the mat. At the same time, press the hands down and forward so you get the biggest, fullest stretch here. And then lower the knees back down to the mat and turn your hands around. Fingers can face towards the side of the mat for more caution, or fingers back towards the knees. And then make little circles around the shoulders and upper body. Great stretch in the forearms. Challenges the flexion in the wrist. Something that becomes really important in this yoga practice where we have hands on the ground quite often. Okay, then just turn the hands back around. Lift the right arm up to the sky. Thread through, shoulder, ear, side of the face, down to the mat. Extend the left arm out in front of you. Keep it there. Take the left hand to the sky. Keep it there, or drop the hand behind your right hip. And then walk it back. Hand goes up, out, in, in front of your face and all the way back to all fours. Lift the left hand up and thread it through shoulder, ear, side of the face, down to the mat. Same thing, so you've got the placement, hand beside your face, out in front, up to the sky, or behind the hip. And I always like to make sure I go in and out of every stage. On the off chance that a different stage feels better today than it might have the day before. Knowing when to advance, when to hold back. Take the hand back up if it's behind the hip, and then out in front, beside the face, and through all fours. Downward facing dog. Step the right foot in between the hands for our low lunge. Take the right hand up to the sky. All of these opening movements we know well. Down dog lunge, hands to the inside, spin the back heel down. Hands can be very light, even just fingertips on the floor. Keep the weightiness in the legs. Part of this idea of letting go is how it's showing up in the yoga practice. I'm trying just subtle differences, whereas I usually try to put all the weight into the back leg. I've been putting a little bit more weight purposely into the front leg in all of my postures to see if that feels better in lunges. If my knees aren't as creaky at the end of the day, that sort of thing. I don't know. It's an experiment, something to try. Walk the hands back in, pick up the back heel again, and step through to downward facing dog. Step the left foot forward. So just this overall thought of letting go of how we think we're supposed to do it, or even how I'm telling you to do it, and instead playing enough to find what's working today. Left hand high in the twist. And then take it to down dog lunge. Maybe it's more of an even split, enough weight in the front foot and the back foot to find security on both sides. Bring the hands around the front foot and step forward this time. Both feet to the front of the mat, soar high, stand up, lift the arms to the sky, lift, lift, lift. Side body stretch, take the hands over to the right side, bump the hips to the left. Yeah, come across the center. So lovely to see everyone. Breathe here. Come back to the center. Exhale, dive down. Touch your toes. Bend your knees a lot now. Interlace the hands behind your back. With a deep bend in your elbow, try to squeeze the elbows together on your back like the elbows are clapping. And then keeping the elbows close together, straighten your arms. And lift your arms more towards the sky. Head stays down on knees, or even as high as the thighs as you try to round your back more. Gently release the hands, stand all the way up, reach the arms to the sky again. Good old sun salutation here. Now exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Down to the mat. Cobra, peel up. Downward facing dog, lift the hips up and back. Look to the hands and step, jump, walk forward. Half lift, forward fold. Stand, reach the arms to the sky. Again, palms to the chest. Do this 2 more times, really finding the repetition. Breath and body working together, fold over. half lift, plank, chaturanga, through cobra, or up dog, downward facing dog, a few breaths in down dog. Inhale, look in between your hands. Exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the center. One more time, lift. Exhale, fold. Keep going. Change the movement as the breath changes. Be confident that you know the structure here. Go with the flow. Hold your down dog for a couple of breaths once you find your way there. Look in between the hands and step or jump forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Pause for a couple more breaths. Feel free to close the eyes if that feels steady for you. If it's the least a bit dizzy, keep the eyes open, of course. And then as you're ready to move on, high lunge. Have your right foot forward. Step the left foot back. Have the feet about hip distance apart. Again, I mentioned I'm playing with keeping a little bit more weight in that front heel and almost leaning a bit forward so that it's easier to straighten the back leg without overtaxing hip flexors, knee, ankle, low back. Just this little adjustment. How does it play into practice? Do lift both arms up to the sky here. Take it to a twisted lunge, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. And in that way, we really shift the weight forward into the front leg. Keep the weight in the front leg and step your back foot against the front foot in your twisted chair pose. Left foot steps forward, twisted chair pose. Untwist, stand up. Left foot goes forward, right foot back. Again, hip distance apart in our high lunge. Good. Feel free to have a little bend in the back knee as you open, as you adjust, and then arms up to the sky. We'll change to the twist, palms together, right elbow hooks to the outside of the thigh. If that's feeling too deep and constrained, just keep the torso more upright with the elbow some space away from the thigh. For this one, we do need back knee up because we're moving forward into that twisted chair pose. Maybe look down at the ground at your left foot. Keep that right in your sights and then step forward, both feet together. Untwist, stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. We'll put it together in a little bit more of a flow. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to the yoga mat. This time, hands back, palms up to the sky. Lift everything that you can. Fly here. Lower it down, press back to child's pose for a moment, getting that nice round through the spine. And then change to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. And step it all the way through into your lunge. Rise up to high lunge. Take it back to that twisted lunge, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. A little different now here. Look down at your right foot and actually place your left hand to the ground. We're coming into side plank. All I want you to do is heel toe, your right foot more out towards the side, the long edge of your mat, until you can turn the body into a side plank with that right foot still forward. Gets really nicely into the outer hip IT band there. And then we're going to transition back to that twisted lunge. So you have to heel toe that right foot back towards midline. Both hands lift to the waist and reform the twist. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Step the back foot forward. Twisted chair sit. Untwist, stand up, lift to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. We'll put it together for our second side. Inhale, half lift. Step all the way back to plank. Lower to the mat. Cobra. And downward facing dog. Lift your left leg high, three-legged dog. Step it all the way through to the lunge. Come up to high lunge. And then a little hinge forward, add the twist. Right elbow to the outside of the thigh. Here's where it changes to that side plank. Left hand can go to the waist for a moment. Right hand, palm down to the big toe side of your foot. And then heel toe your left foot more off to the side. Make the toes point towards the long edge of your mat. And turn to that pinky toe edge of your right foot. Lift the left arm up, keep pressing through the hips so it feels as though you're lifted out of the right hand instead of pressuring down into it. And this has to all come back around to a regular old low lunge with the twist. And step the back foot forward, twisted chair sit. Untwist, stand up, lift the arms to the sky. Nice, that's kind of a fun little combo. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Press back to step back to plank and lower down to the mat. Here's where we get back into that flying pose, palms back. Lift everything that you can. Lower it down, sit back into child's pose. And downward facing dog. Starting much like what we just did, lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. And step forward, come up to your high lunge, arms to the sky. This time, we're going into warrior 3. Hinge forward, lay your belly close to that front thigh. Again, that purpose of getting the weight into the front leg today. Lift your back leg off of the ground. Make the right leg, the standing leg, as straight as it'll go for warrior 3, trying to keep the hips, shoulders still squared down to the mat. Lower it all the way back down to your low lunge, hands to the floor, left foot to the floor. Take a breath, a pause. Step through plank. We're getting a side plank in here as well. Balance on the left hand. This time, stacked feet. Take the right arm up. Stacked feet is a little much right now. Lower your left knee to the ground. Come back through full plank. We're moving just right into a vinyasa flow for the second side here. Lower it down. Regular cobra. Down dog. Lift the left leg up, three-legged dog. Step all the way through. Come up to high lunge. Hinge forward at the hips. Shift the weight into the front leg. Once you have that stability, it's a lift of the back leg. There's no jumping up, leaping off. It's just lift up. Try to keep the arms long out to the front. Maybe go to a straighter standing leg. Great tone in the abdomen. And lower hands and back leg to your low lunge. Side plank. Step through plank. Right hand stays down. Stack the feet. Left arm up. Two hands flat down in plank. Lower to the mat. Easy cobra now, just a little lift. Child's pose, push back. Give yourself some time right here. And again, downward facing dog. This time, walk your hands backwards to your feet. So you should end up towards the end of your yoga mat. Good old ragdoll pose. Hold your elbows. Really bend the knees. Try to release. It's that letting go. What do you not need here? If you can unblock, create some space, what does it make space for? And then slowly roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple of times. And forward and down. Everything gets a little bit of a shake. Lovely. So overall, today's class is a shape of Warrior 3 that we keep coming back to, and it's why I gave us that emphasis as we warmed up in all of the flows of the weight a little bit more on the front leg instead of the back in any lunge. We're going to keep emphasizing that. Stand in the center of your mat here and go back to your chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, sit down into the thighs, but stay quite vertical in the torso so you don't have to sit super deep. I always say this is more like sitting on a bar stool instead of a dinner chair. And then eagle pose. Wrap the right arm under the left. So let's do the arms first. The hands can hold the shoulders, the back of the palms, or all the way to the front of the palms. Put the weight onto the left leg, so it's a little switch of the weight so that the right leg can lift up and cross over. Try to cross higher in your thighs. Maybe it takes a couple of crosses. And then squeeze the outside of your right foot onto the left calf. Maybe even toes behind the calf. Keeping the weight on the left leg, everything unwraps, and go to Warrior 3. Right foot behind you, arms out in front of you. This is major stability work in the hips. That left hip will want to sway out to the side. Try to hug in towards the middle. And then stand up, 2 feet on the ground, mountain pose. Utkatasana, bend the knees, sit into your thighs. Pull the chest up, think broad across the collarbone. Good. And then arms first, so left elbow wraps under the right. Put your weight more onto the right leg so that you can pick up your left foot and cross over. The foot A hangs out to the side, Or squeeze left foot to the right calf. I usually like that second bus stop. The third is to tuck toes behind the calf so that the big toes kind of resting on the Achilles heel. If it works for you, go for it. As you unwrap to warrior 3, don't let the right hip move out to the side. You got to pull it back. Extend the arms forward, legs back. Nice modification is to have the left toes down, but the leg extended. Still does all the work. And then come back to mountain pose. How's your weight sitting? Do you need to sway a little bit? Find more weight in the toes, back in the heels, and then back into the center. Lift both arms high. Let's go forward fold. Good old downward facing dog. Walk your hands forward, feet back. Lift your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. This time bend the knee, open the hip, and make some big hip circles down and around. Go in the opposite direction with the knee circles, the hip circles. And step the right foot all the way through into the low lunge. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. Instead of eagle pose and then warrior 3, we're going to try warrior 3 first. Know that it'll then go to eagle pose. So hinge over. Trade your weight forward into that right foot. Maybe left toes stay on the ground. Stage 1. Stage 2, lift the left leg up. If possible, keep the left leg lifted. Take the hands to your waist. Stand up and wrap the left leg over the right so that you come to eagle pose in the legs. Should be left elbow underneath here. Now keep the arms, unwrap the leg, and come back to your high lunge. All the while, weight still mostly in that front leg. Should feel a little bit taxed here. Unwrap the arms, set the hands down. Side plank, left hand. You can heel toe the right foot out to the side to do that kickstand of side plank with the right hand lifted. Or swing the right foot all the way back to stack on top of the left leg. Your choice. Everyone, make it to plank here. Full plank, both hands, both feet on the mat. Lower down through cobra, downward facing dog. Second side, calling to us here. Lift your left leg up, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Make the big hip circles first, down and around. Several times. And then switch directions. And step the left foot all the way through. Come up to your high lunge. Really try to take things one pose at a time. And then linking it together with the breath. So now hinge forward. Shift the weight into the left foot so that the right leg can come up for warrior 3. Change hands to the waist as you stand up. Pick the right leg up and over for eagle legs. Wrap the right arm under. Keep eagle arms, unwrap the legs into your high lunge. Still with the weight forward into the front leg, even if that means you're a little leaned forward in the torso there to support. Finally, unwrap the arms, set the hands down either side of the front foot. Side plank, balance on the right hand. Heel to the left foot out to the side until you have space to turn to the outer edge of the right foot. You can keep that kickstand leg forward, left arm high, or feel free to swing the left leg back to stack on top. Full plank pose. Lower down to the mat. Pick up the chest. Cobra, and this time child's pose. Sit back, give yourself a moment. And I am meaning child's pose here to be a release. If sitting upright is more of a release for you, please be there. And then everyone back to downward facing dog. Look forward to your hands and step or jump to the front end of the yoga mat. Come up halfway, forward fold. Stand, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Let things release and shake out a little bit. We're going to keep playing with that sort of warrior 3 variation, but with hands bound behind our back. We started there with chair pose. Right now, I just want y'all to stand and interlace the hands behind your back with the elbows way out to the side. And then whatever finger you placed in front, switch so that your other finger is on top. Should feel a little bit funky. Oftentimes, in that power of letting go, if I do one thing slightly different, I feel like I have the allowance to do a little bit more. So let go of that usual tendency, do something a little bit different. Just other finger on top. Now try squeezing the elbows together. As you do that, squeeze the heel of the hand together. Keep as much of this as possible as you straighten the arms. And the head of the shoulder, we want to roll up and back. Keeping this very upright stance, go to a high lunge. Right foot forward, left foot back. Okay, this broadness across the collarbone and shoulders, make sure the head is a little bit back and open to you. All of that stays in the same lines, but I want you to hinge forward, get that weight onto your right leg, just like we did Warrior 3 before. I think I know this, it's just one thing different, allowing yourself to open up, hands bound, elevated bow pose, lift the left leg high. Come back into your high lunge with hands bound. Step both feet to the front, back to your mountain pose. Release the hands. I always get very tingly in there. Give yourself some time. Move it all about. And then for the second side, we're actually going to do your usual hold. So whatever is most common for you, interlace the hands again behind the back. This time, instead of closing the heel of the hand, try keeping the palms open and stretch back. So then the palm is facing kind of in towards your bum, yeah? And then left foot forward, right foot back. It's a little more loose, if you will. Does that freedom translate better for you? Come forward in the torso. Balance into the left leg. Lift the right leg up. Try to point the right toes. And then you go back into the high lunge. Set the foot down. Release the hands and step into mountain pose, 2 feet to the front. Good. Lift both arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold over. Keep your left foot forward now and step your right foot back. Left foot forward, right foot back. Warrior 2, spin the back heel down, come all the way up to Warrior 2. You're going to get into that hands bound position one more time on each side, interlace. And now you choose, which finger do you want on top? Do you want open palm, closed palm? Extend the arms. A little different here because hips are open to the side. Maybe that allows in and of itself a bit more freedom and awareness. And then no handed lunge. Send the head down. Try lifting the arms up. So then even as the head of the shoulder is turning down, there has to be an action of lifting the arms up towards the sky to help things stay in between. I find this next ask pretty difficult. Just go slow and be kind to yourself. I want to look over towards that left foot, heel toe the back foot forward. This is that next patience in getting the weight into the front leg, shift into the hips, and come back up into that upward bow with hands bound, right leg up. Set the left leg down, spin the heel down, no handed lunge. You go back to where you came from. Now lift the torso, release the hands out to Warrior 2. Side angle pose, elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead. Place the hands on either side of the front foot. And step forward, both feet to the front of the mat. Stand all the way up, lift the arms to the sky. Exhale, lower the hands down by your side, mountain pose. Second side, lift the arms back up. Exhale, forward fold, touch down. This time, right foot stays forward. Step the left foot back. Come up to Warrior 2, spin the back heel down, get that broad chest. Extend the arms to either direction. Okay, interlace the hands behind your back. Again, you choose which finger do you want on top? Do you want open palm, closed palm? Straighten the arms. Try to keep a lift in the chest here. Even as you hinge forward, head down, arms up in that no-handed lunge shape. You're definitely headed towards a little off the midline of the mat, more towards that long edge of the mat so that there's some spaciousness for you. And then you're shifting. Weight goes over the front foot to lift into your bound bow pose, lifted bow. Lower the left leg down, spin back, drop the head, lift the arms. Slowly rise up, release the arms, extend out in either direction. Warrior two, gaze out over the front fingertips. Bend elbow to knee, left arm palm down overhead. To finish this side off, we'll take both hands down to plank, step back, lower flat down onto the mat. I promise this is the last time I'll ask you to bind the hands. Reach in behind you, interlace, and lift. Lower back flat down to the mat. Now take your hands out into a T shape. Keep the right arm extended. Take the left hand right beside the shoulder and roll over the right side. Set your head down. Keep the shoulder down. Step the left foot behind your right. Nice counter stretch after all of that hands bound work. Come across your center, stretch the left arm out, place the right hand right by the shoulder, and then roll over your left side. Again, we're trying to have the head and the shoulder down on the mat, that whole side of the body. Sometimes the right foot stepping back doesn't feel great to me. In that case, just stack the legs like you might in a stacked plank, side plank. That feels okay. We're stepping back. Use the right foot like the kickstand there, so that the hips get the stretch as well. Okay. That pose always takes my breath away. Come back to the middle. It's one of those things I think is deceptively difficult. Push back to child's pose. And then we're going to switch to a seated position. You just get to sit down. Extend your legs out in front of you. Flex your feet, point the toes and knees straight up to the sky. Perfect. Take the right foot in, cross over. Try to push down onto the foot and both sides of your bum as you sit tall. And then twist over the right side. You can hold the front of the shin or go towards that elbow to the outside of the knee, just like we did at the beginning of class and all of those twisted lunges. Shoulders and upper body. Torso definitely ready for the deeper twist. Or it might be feeling like I've done enough, and that hug to the front of the shin might feel better here. Okay, let's release the twist. Take both feet out in front of you. Take a seated forward fold in between. We've done so much work with a lengthened spine, open chest and shoulders. I want you here just to let yourself fold in. Maybe a little bend in the knees, even hug your legs, kind of wrap the arms underneath. Great, and then unthread and do the second side. So then left foot comes in and over. Again, sole of the foot, both sides of the bum, pretty even on the mat. Sit up tall and add the twist. Backhand always working like an anchor. Push down into the ground so that the rest of you can lift up. And if you're a little more weighty on one side than the other, don't worry about it too much. It's a big piece of letting go. My practice over the past year in particular is not worrying so much about what I think is exactly right, but doing the poses in the way that feel best that given day. And that's what I know is right. Gives a lot more freedom and allowance. Come back to the center, extend both legs and fold over. Again, just let the upper back round as it wants. Mid back, lower back, everything just folding in. Anytime the body signals pain, we've got to listen to that signal. It's trying to tell us, don't be here. But as much as this feels right, just stay in the fold. Okay, and then come on back upright. Set the soles of your feet together. With the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side in Baddha Konasana. Let yourself fold forward and over for a moment. But then really, I want us to come back upright, take the hands behind you, fingertips behind you on the ground, and lift the chest, open across the shoulders. So not binding the hands to each other, but that same lift of the head of the shoulder up and back. Spaciousness across the collarbone that we worked for throughout class. And then release and stretch the legs out in front of you. Give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, so I've got one more difficult thing for us to practice. I want to show you first, so just watch. The important pieces here are that this is going to want to make our shoulders and chest round forward and close off. As much as you can, I want you to try to stay open and broad. We gave ourselves all the tools throughout the practice to do so. And then the back leg, we're going to work on lifting and flying like we did in our elevated bow pose. You've seen this sort of thing before. It's just hands to the inside. We're going to lock, I always say backpack leg here. And now my shoulders definitely want to turn and roll down. And that's going to happen. But in the essence of trying to stay open in the pose, I'm just going to look forward so the chin stays a little bit lifted rather than everything being way down here. Put weight onto the front leg. Push down into that front heel so that you can try to lift this back leg. Maybe have a little bit of play and flight. Now, this is me. I cannot balance. I'm going to keep working on it. Oh, lock in a little bit of balance. And it's like the shoulder is trying to push forward into the leg. The leg's pulling back into my shoulder to try to keep some broadness in the chest. Let's give it a go and just see what happens. Step right foot forward. You can start with the back knee down. Hands go to the inside. And then you're going to crouch down even lower and place the right hand to the outside of the right foot. That's where you get that connection of shoulder to the shin. And we want to think of pushing the shoulder forward as the shin kind of pulls back onto the shoulder. Now, if you've got any shoulder limitations and that already is not feeling good, don't worry about it. Take both hands to the inside and you can play with a little lift and fly without that bind. Once you get the bind that you're working with, pick up your back knee and just shift, shift, shift until most of your weight is in that right foot. Try to keep your chin lifted, chest lifted, and lift the back leg off of the ground, even if it's just a little bit of a hop. And again, if it's too much in the shoulders, if they're really turned down, chest really rounded in, you'll probably want to go for that different option of hands just to the inside of the foot and still playing with that little lift and hop. Once you've done enough on the first side, switch sides. Try left foot forward, right foot back. Take your time to set it up. Decide if both hands are going to be on the inside of your foot. You should know before you start trying to hop and leap off or using that backpack line.
You got to keep your front heel down, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, we want to keep that front heel down, which is what kind of makes it hard because I do want to lift up to change more body weight forward, but we're using those principles of keeping all the weight into that front heel that we started with. It's a lot of low belly strength to pull you in and up. Think pelvic floor lift. Yeah, I see you guys. Nice, nice. And then let it all come out. Maybe a little all fours. This one feels good to flip the hands and go back to that southpaw release a little bit. Whatever feels nice to you for a little release. And then take a seat, cross-legged at the ankles, or you can cross the ankles under the knees. If these cross-legged positions don't work for you, extend your legs out in front or sit back on your heels. I used to almost always teach classes this way. We start to feel the cool down, and then there's that one last big thing. And then sit. Can you drop it all? Don't worry. It's harder in a lot of ways. Use the discipline of your breath. Inhale, exhale. And the joy and an ease of not doing the hard thing now. Just sit. Good. Friends, from here, any last unwinding movement? So I hope that 30, 45 seconds of sit. What were you yearning to do? Do that here. Maybe it's staying in the seat, going right to Shavasana. Work out the few last kinks. And after those last little bits for you, do find your final position of stillness, whether it be seated or lying back. and honoring the passing, the recent death of Nitin Ha, and I've been reading some of Thai's work lately, which is Buddhist. I was reminded of how they connect body and mind as the same. So now, it's being so present, so full. In this moment, you can both release and quiet body and mind. The notion then that it's the soul, the self, the spirit. So many words, we can interchange them, find what works for you. That is the one doing the breath now. That is mindfulness. Ironic that it has the word mind in it, yeah? Few more breaths, continue letting go to surrender fully to be here in this present moment. If you're lying back, take your time to come back to a seated position. Draw the palms together, thumbs to your sternum. In a way of saying thank you, honoring the intention, the time you spent in this practice. We'll close in the sound of Om, the sound of creation that allows the good work on the mat to travel into the good work of the rest of your day. Empty out the breath. Take a deep breath in. And bow into yourself, each other, and this practice as we greet the next moment. Namaste.